Fabrizio Romano and Turkish sources have been linking Onana to Trabzonspor, and they broke that Manchester United had reached an agreement with Trabzonspor for Onana to leave on loan, and that was huge news. But the one thing that was mentioned was Andre Onana needs to agree to this move. You know, Andre Onana sort of always kind of wanted to make it work at Manchester United. There has been a feeling, would he be reluctant to leave? But it now looks like Onana is ready to leave Manchester United and has agreed to join Trabzonspor on loan, which basically means the deal is done and Onana is leaving Manchester United. Bye-bye, 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 bye-bye. And I'm telling you this now. After the Grimsby game, I said Andre Onana can never play for Manchester United again because that is, and I'm not trying to be reactionary or anything like that, but that is the worst performance I've seen from a Manchester United goalkeeper in my lifetime that I can remember. I mean, Grimsby deserved to go through, but both the goals we conceded, he could have done better for. He literally got his hand on about 4 or 5 penalties and still let them in. And it was just a matter of time until we missed because we knew that he was never going to save one of Grimsby's penalties. It was painful. Onana had to go. I'm someone that tried to defend Onana in his first season and give him a bit of time because when Onana first walked in the door, he was atrocious. He's the whole reason we got knocked out the Champions League. You'd have honestly thought he was betting against us with some of the things he did in that Champions League campaign and some of those performances. Then, the second half of his first season, I thought Onana was very good. That sort of January period onward, he was good. And I actually felt that Onana started last season quite well when Ten Hag was in. And then the minute Ten Hag was sacked, he just went back to the old Onana. And he's been appalling for nearly a year. He's cost us in so many games. He almost cost us in the first leg versus Lyon. There's so many games where Onana has cost us or done something silly. And look, goalkeepers will make mistakes, and it's natural for goalkeepers to make mistakes, but it's happened too much with Andre Onana. Even Bayindir, who in my opinion isn't particularly very good, is now ahead of Onana in the pecking order. And Bayindir was, made a mistake versus Arsenal. Bayindir is a liability from set pieces. And I think with Lemens coming in, I think that was a signal to Onana of you're not wanted. The fact that Bayindir started the first 3 games over Onana and they've brought in Lemens was United's signal to Onana, you're not wanted. And I said this. If Onana said, oh, I'm going to stay at Man United, he's not reading the room. The fact that Man United hadn't even consulted Onana or Onana hadn't even agreed terms and Man United got a loan offer for Onana and they're like, yeah, we're upset, that cool. The fact that we're accepting loan offers for you, not permanent deals, is because we don't want you. And one thing about Ruben Amorim is, with the 5 players in the bomb squad, boom. Højlund, we don't want you, go. Onana, we don't want you, go. One thing I like about Ruben Amorim is, if he doesn't rate you, if he doesn't like you, go. You're not going to pay, you're not part of my plans. Onana, go. Højlund, go. And you can argue, look, Højlund was a young player, he had a great attitude, he worked really hard, but he just wasn't good enough. And, it's sad that Højlund's dream ended like this, but Amorim had to be ruthless, and, Højlund is gone. Onana is gone. The bomb squad is gone. And that's one thing that I like about Amorim is that ruthlessness of, I don't rate you, you're gone. We were literally briefed like a month ago that we weren't going to get a goalkeeper and Onana was going to stay and Amorim was happy for Onana, which I did tell you was a PR brief because we can't sell him. And all of a sudden Onana got injured. And Bayindir played the first game of the season, but we're like, that's the first game of the season. He's not had a pre-season, whatever. And Bayindir was bad in the first game of the season. But when Bayindir then played the second and third game of the season, it told you everything you need to know. No, he actually views Bayindir ahead of Onana now. And Onana got his chance versus Grimsby to, try and win back his place. And that was an appalling performance. It was one of the worst performances I've seen. And there's been so many games where Onana's been poor. Now, Onana has had the odd good game for us. But we got rid of a really good shot stopper in De Gea because we wanted someone that was good with their feet. And that was Onana. Well, it was meant to be. One thing about Onana was he was fantastic in that Champions League final for Inter. I was sold on Onana after that Champions League final. I went, wow, what a performance. And I think this is the thing of don't judge a goalkeeper after one game. Don't judge a goalkeeper after one game. You've got to watch a big sample size because Onana was good for Inter. Onana was fantastic in that Champions League final. And one thing I've learned as a football fan is you don't buy a player off the back of a good World Cup. You don't buy the player off the back of a good tournament. You buy them off the back of a good season. And I think that's the mistake we made with Onana, because Onana's meant to be good with his feet, but Bayindir's looked better with his distribution so far, and that's not Bayindir's strength. Onana's better at Bayindir than claiming crosses, but Onana isn't good at claiming crosses. When Onana comes out, he misses the ball. Onana can have the shot right at him, and he still doesn't save it. Onana's distribution isn't good. Onana in the Europa League final probably could have saved that. And there was a point in the Europa League final where he was asking Euro to leave it, but then wasn't asking Euro to leave it, and there was miscommunication. Onana doesn't feel that back line with confidence one bit. He doesn't feel that back line with confidence one bit. He's not he made mistakes, and then he wants a 25% wage increase because he's upset we're not in the Champions League. Well, maybe you could have saved the Brennan Johnson chance in the Europa League. You're the reason we got knocked out the Champions League when we were in it, and we didn't even get downgraded to the Europa League. We got completely knocked out the whole competition because we came bottom in one of the easiest groups because of you. I just think, when we signed Onana, I was excited. I saw the Inter game. I thought we finally got a keeper that's good with their feet. I'm excited to see this. And he's not a good shot stopper, but he's also not good with his feet. And right now I'm at a point where, look, Lemens might not be good enough for Manchester United. We don't know how good Lemens is going to be. His numbers are good. His stats are good. He looks good from what I've seen of him. But it's different being a goalkeeper at Royal Antwerp and a goalkeeper at Man United. You're under a different level of spotlight. Onana was much better before he came to Man United, and I do think there's a mental side of being a goalkeeper for Man United under the spotlight that maybe Onana couldn't cope with because confidence gets to you. And I do think there's a lot of goalies that they might come to Man United and not be as good because you're under a different level of pressure. And I do think there's a mental side that you've got to take into account when you be a goalkeeper at a club like Manchester United. But look, Lemens is in the door, and I just feel like from watching bits of him, through looking at his numbers and his stats, I feel like he's a better goalkeeper than Onana and Baindir, and he might not even be good enough. But we've got a keeper that's come in on £17 million on low wages that if he doesn't work after a year or two, we can sell and offload quite easily because he's got a low book value. But Lemens is in the door, so that's a hint at Onana. He's not wanted. Baindir is now second choice. Onana's been told his third choice. So I think Onana's accepted he's got to leave. And I think the goalkeeping situation, I really hope Lemens does well. I really hope Lemens succeeds at Manchester United, and he is the answer to our goalkeeping situation. But we still got to remember that Lemens is young. I think we would have preferred an Emi Martinez had Jadon Sancho left for good, had we got a bit more money in the door, had we known that Onana was going to go, maybe because we wouldn't want Emi Martinez and Onana on high wages both at the club. But Lemens is someone that is looking really promising. I'm very happy with the signing. It could be a smart signing, I feel like Emi Martinez, is the Agate and Lemens is the João Neves potentially. Now I'm not saying that is the situation, but we went for Agate and let PSG get João Neves. We could have gone for Emi Martinez and let Aston Villa got Lemens. And Lemens as a player, as a modern player, as one for the future, could be really good. So look, with Lemens, he's not a finished article. He's not fully ready-made now. He's not a world-class goalkeeper, but he's a very good goalkeeper off the back of a very good season that saved 5 penalties last season, which instantly is going to improve this because Onana can't save penalties. That looks good. Numbers are good. Is low risk, and hopefully Lemens comes in and he shows that he's a goalkeeper good enough for Manchester United, and then Onana's gone for good, and then we've got Vitek to come back and potentially push Lemens next year. But look, it's not easy being a goalkeeper for United. It's not easy. But Onana wasn't good enough, and hopefully Lemens is good enough. But I think Onana had to go. He had some good moments, but most of it was bad, and he cost us on too many occasions. He was another tenor player that tenor brought in, and one thing I've noticed is the tenor players, the players he brought in, a lot of them from his agency, a lot of them his ex-players, they weren't good enough, and I do think the recruitment and the players we're bringing in and getting rid of are better. So yeah, I'm not going to act like Lemens is going to come in and he's instantly going to be a world-class keeper. Like, we may not see it from Lemens. We might go, well, maybe Lemens isn't good enough at the end of the season. But Lemens is a young keeper. It's a low-risk keeper. And from what I've seen, he's the best keeper at the club. And I think it's a good signing. And I think it's a step in the right direction. And I appreciate Amorim having this ruthless approach. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.